Gen Xers, we're still being played. Throughout our entire adult lives, we've been handed a lot of rules, a lot of manuals, but the two that define us the most was the Company Handbook, which claimed it was written for us but really wasn't, and its sequel, the Retirement Playbook. And if we're not careful, we're going to follow some of the same old rules that don't apply to us. So let's go through those. And by the end of this video, you'll see which old rules have cost us the most. And when it comes to our future, what to do instead. Because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Now, it didn't matter if we worked clerical jobs, cubicle jobs, white collar, blue collar, or anything in between. The rules were all oddly the same. And rule number 1 was get into the management program and your career is set. Little side note, I worked in retail for decades, and this was pushed so heavily there. Getting into the management program was the golden ticket. And shortly after getting my first management position, payroll cut hours so drastically that I couldn't keep any part-time employees. So here I am with my big manager title, a slightly improved salary paycheck, working 50 plus hours, pretty much doing my job and the jobs that my part-timers should have been doing. So give me a big thumbs up if you can relate. Rule number 2 is we'll make you salary. Now go prove yourself. Gen X, we couldn't wait to become salaried employees because that was the ultimate bragging right in the 90s, right? It signaled we had made it. But we all know now that becoming salary meant proving ourselves by just how many hours over 40 we were willing to work. We thought being seen after everybody else had gone home for the day, that would get us some special brownie points. And what brownie points did it get us? Another step up to a more stressful position? Okay, rule number 3 in the Company Handbook, a college degree will get you a fancy job. Now first, I will say that it's understandable that some vocations require a college education. Nurses, lawyers, engineers, but many of us took out student loans and ended up with administrative assistant jobs. And hear me, I'm not saying that being an administrative assistant, that's a bad job. But did it really require a college degree? Now, at the time, maybe it did, because if you didn't have that college degree, you were competing with others that probably did have one, and those are the ones that would outcompete you for that job. So it was sort of a catch-22. You needed that college degree to get a job that didn't require one just a few years earlier. So we financed our futures to the government because we wanted to follow the rules of the day. Okay, rule number 4 in the company manual was job hopping will ruin your resume. Remember when you would just purposely leave off some of those extra jobs on your resume so it wouldn't look like you were a job hopper? Putting out that impression evidently marked you as undedicated, unmoored, and a flight risk. And you just knew they'd toss your resume to the side in favor of someone else. But leaving off those little extra jobs here and there, it didn't necessarily do the trick, because then what you ended up with was this huge time gap between jobs. And in some ways, that was even worse. And the Company Handbook rule number 5 was you can find your identity in your job. Remember when small talk consisted of, so what do you do? As if our entire lives revolved around our work. Well, maybe it did, with all those long hours. And then, remember, there were the business cards that you wanted to carry everywhere and hand them out The name on the desk plaque, the name on the drawer, the title, that badge of identity. What a crock that was. Yeah, whatever. Hey, if this is already bringing back some memories for you, share it with another Gen Xer. It really helps my channel. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love for you to subscribe. Thank you. So now let's get to the retirement playbook that we've been sold. And false rule number 1, you'll be in a lower tax bracket later. I heard this my entire working life. Save on taxes while you're young and working and just pay them later when you retire and you live in the lowest tax bracket. Well, most of my 20s and 30s, I was already in the lowest tax bracket. And I usually got tax refunds every year as well. So I was never really at a level where I needed to be tax savvy until I reached my 50s. And now there are floating rumors that taxes could increase a lot by the time we retire, especially due to the national debt. So that's 2 strikes. And then comes the realization that if you want to take out a big chunk of your 401k, your own money, in retirement, that alone will put you in a much higher tax bracket. Probably one that's higher than you ever attained during your working years. So 3 strikes, and this lie is out. The more realistic rule, just try to put some of your money in a Roth IRA. That's all I'm saying. That way, whether you're in a lower tax bracket when you retire or a higher one, you'll have options on how you take out those withdrawals. False rule number 2 is your 401k is your retirement answer. Yes, the system and the corporations, they took away pensions, but they assured us they had a plan that would take care of us. But it was totally voluntary. And a lot of us 20-somethings, we put that at the bottom of the to-do list, unfortunately. The better truth would have been providing more financial education and motivation when we were younger, especially if we were expected to create our own DIY income for a possible 30-year retirement span. I mean, you don't do something like that without some kind of a plan. And just know that a 401k is not the only retirement answer. Look into diversifying your savings and your investments. Mix your tax buckets. Use everything that you can that's available today to give you more security during your retirement years. Okay, false rule number 3 in the retirement playbook is Social Security will be there for you. Now, yeah, I've talked plenty about this, and whether we get what we're promised or not, it doesn't change the fact that we're being made to live in a state of uncertainty about it. Thank you. Thank you so much. The truth is we just don't know, do we? Trustees say that it can start running short by the year 2033. I suppose the better truth would be to just think of Social Security as a bonus in our retirement years. But learning that now, this late in the game, that makes that a lot more difficult. We just can't pin all of our hopes on social insecurity. False rule number 4 in the retirement playbook is you'll get the same retirement your parents got. There was nothing technical about the retirement that my grandparents or even my parents got. Go sign up for Social Security and Medicare, and you're done. You're done. That's all you had to do. In their 40s and 50s, they probably thought little about retirement. They didn't have to. Well, those rules have definitely changed. And it's become so complicated that some may never retire because of it. As Gen Xers, we're the pioneers of not only a new retirement system, but a financial system as well. I mean, just look at how much personal finance has changed just since our parents' generation. For one, debt. Now, for us, it's sometimes continual, even revolving. Consumerism has changed drastically. And we've pretty much left a cash system behind. There's no more writing, personal checks. We've gone digital with our money. Now our money consists of numbers on a screen instead of dollars in our pocket. The more realistic rule is that we're not inheriting our parents' retirement. We're reinventing our own. Okay, false rule number 5 is you'll spend less when you retire. This rule has been around forever. The actual rule of thumb is to predict that you'll spend 80% of your pre-retirement expenses. And maybe we will spend less on some things like lunches out every day or clothing for work, the commute. But other categories have exploded, and they eat up any savings we might have seen with those other things. What about home and auto insurance premiums, doubling and tripling in some cases? Also, health expenses, they'll only increase, even with Medicare. Additionally, have you heard the rumors of how our utilities can be subject to huge increases in the future due to the AI and the huge data centers that are being built in our states, in our cities? They put such a huge demand on electricity and other utilities that we'll end up paying the price for that. So I truly believe that we can't really count on that spending less rule anymore. That one, I believe, has expired. The better truth would be to hope that your spending falls enough in some categories to even out some of the others, and take this time now, while there's still time to make changes, and get ruthless about how you can cut your expenses after you retire, like paying off your mortgage or other debt obligations, possibly relocating, downsizing, even going down to one car. So, my fellow Gen Xers, the rules keep changing, and it seems the more we rely on them, the riskier our future gets. But you can rewrite yours starting right now, beginning with my 90-day money reset. In part 1, I cover your financial foundation, and part 2 definitely gets you set up into retirement mode. I'll link both of those videos right here. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.